Welcome back to the Adriana Montes Real Estate Show. I'm Adriana Montes, your host today. And if you want to contact me about any questions for real estate, commercial, residential, or just want to talk about entrepreneurship, leadership, please call me, reach out to me at 321-689-6258 or email me at adriana@floridadreamsrealty.com and make sure you follow me on all of my social media. So Fernando Valencia, I'm so happy, and thank you so much, Fernando, for being here. I'm so happy that you came. You're a great friend, and also we share part of this ecosystem. I'm blinded, and it's been a great journey to be part of this with you. And you're one of the co-founders, and I admire so much all of your efforts, your persistence, and your dedication to this movement. And we heard how amazing you are. I mean, I'm so glad that all of this audience that we have of 300 million people get a chance to hear from you and get inspired by you, that you're an entrepreneur, a trailblazer, that you are a first generation immigrant, you are Colombian, you're Latino, and you're super young and, good looking and have a purpose for life. So I'm so inspired by you. And I'm sure that a lot of our audience is super inspired too. Thank you for coming into the show and sharing what is possible when you're committed, what is possible when you have a clear purpose in your life, when you have an identity. You talk about this subject of identity, which is so important. And maybe if you can touch on that later. So many people in life don't really feel like they know what their purpose is because they don't have an identity. And if you haven't chosen an identity, somebody else chose that identity for you. So for all of us, it's a good time for all of us to think who has chosen our identity. And it's time for us to take that in control of our lives, what aligns with our values and our goals. So Fernando, let's continue with your story about what's your why and about why I'm blinded, time, money, magic, influence, identity, everything that you are dropping into us. And I'm just absorbing so much. I'm sure our audience appreciates that as well.
Adriana, as I sit here, I find my eyes swelling as I feel so much emotion rushing as I think about my why and my identity. And it's been a little bit since I shared all these stories in one sitting. And I think about the fact that my future son and daughter have been such a driving factor in my life. I don't know their names. I don't know how they look like, but they have been with me for so long. And so has my brother who passed away. I consider him my guardian angel, and I do a lot for them. And my why currently, as I believe why changes and shifts and optimizes over time, is to be an example of possibility for my family. And my mission and why behind Unblinded is to cause leaders to lead leaders to merge ecosystems where 1 + 1 = 1 trillion units of value, or at least more than 10, and certainly more than 3, to make the world an even greater place. And this whole concept of identity is so powerful because, as I said at the beginning, because my middle name is Jesus, I've always felt destined to do something incredible. And that's been an identity. No one told me that. No one forced me to believe that identity. That is an identity I chose for myself. And it is a very empowering identity. And at the same time, unfortunately, sometimes we choose some limiting identities. I don't speak English. I wasn't born here. I'm not good enough. I didn't grow up with money. I don't have resources. I didn't go to college. And these identities become cinder blocks on our journey of life. And it is really that simple to sit down and choose a new identity. I'm not downplaying, oversimplifying, but it really is as simple as choosing a new identity. And this purpose that drives me to be an example of possibility for my parents, an example. I remember having a conversation with my brother, and growing up, we did have the privilege to go to the beach and do different things and go to Florida. And do some version of travel, which I'm very confident many people did not have that blessing, and I am incredibly privileged. And I told my brother that my dream was to go on an entire family vacation. We had only done one ever, and he looked at me and said, "Impossible." And I said, "Really? Why is that?" Because it would never happen. Schedule is this. I said, "Watch me." And 5 years ago, we did. We went on our first family vacation, and 5 years have passed, where we've gone every single year. This year, we're going to do our first flight and go to Puerto Rico, which I'm incredibly excited for. And I actually had the privilege to fund some of these vacations 100%. And most of the time, I fund most of it. And that has been a living example of being an example of possibility, because 1, they didn't think that was possible. 2, they didn't think a single person could fund it. And 3, they definitely did not think we'd do it for 5 years in a row. And now it's become a ritual. It's a 3rd weekend in July, 4th weekend in July, and we always go. For the rest of my life, God willing, that is my favorite weekend of the year, because I know that that weekend, without a shadow of a doubt, I will be creating magic and memories and living my purpose, which is being an example of possibility. And Unblinded has become so critical to my original mission of peopleification, which has now become Unblinded. And what I get to do now is what I'm doing with you. As you and I cause leadership, as you and I cause possibility, as we do not just demonstrate what we do, we teach it and we train it. And I've had the privilege to learn from you. And you mentioned you had the privilege to learn from me, and we certainly learn together. And this is what I believe is the true version of education. As I mentioned before, I have my thoughts on the educational system, but I own a training and development company that educates. So I believe in education. I believe in being a masterful apprentice. I believe on the journey of mastery. What I do not agree with is how we are trained during school. And that's a different conversation for a different day. So thank you for the question, Adriana, and back to you.
You're welcome, Fernando. So I'm writing on my calendar, third weekend of July. I'm going to send you my passport information. So I'm so happy, I guess, for being Colombian, my mom being in the same city. I'm sure you can probably make some kind of family very far away exception. Puerto Rico will be such a fun time. You love Puerto Rico. I've been to Puerto Rico many times, and you have a great time. And as you talk about Unblinded, there was something that caught my attention, how you mentioned that you were doing all these things already as a young entrepreneur, as a young leader being developed, but you didn't know a name for it. So I want you to take us more into why Unblinded, and also explain us more about the group influence, personal influence, and explain us how you were able to identify what you were already doing, but actually put a name to it, and find a formula that goes through that, and then master that even more, and how that has been able to take you to this amazing organization that is making so much impact in many places of the world, and how you're training leaders, how you guys train me also. So I appreciate all of that, and I want you to share how you were able to mix that and to be so committed to this cause and so passionate to this movement.
Yeah, well, thank you, Adriana. And Malcolm Gladwell says there's three types of people. There's salespeople, there's connectors, and there's mavens. And my coach, Sean Callaghy, has called me a maven, and I would agree. And what makes a maven is that a maven, does not say something he or she does not absolutely fully believe in and has fact checked and has proven. And I am, I would consider myself a critical thinker, someone who discerns. I do not just follow the crowd. I make my own decisions. I wasn't always that way, but I certainly have become that way. And when I met Sean, he began to share, illuminate, unblind. And he began to share with me the foundation of our work, which is called integrity-based human influence. And this formula has three sections. You have self-mastery, which is what the entire world would call personal development, mindset training, peak performance. It is certainly the foundation of things like Landmark, Tony Robbins, many others. And this is incredible. And Albert Einstein said, make everything as simple as possible, not simpler. What I'm about to share with you is the simplest distillation of the reality and truth of what it takes to create the money, time, and magic you want. Self-mastery is your ability to be in what we call zone action. What is zone action? Is the most effective, efficient action step you can take today for the rise of your money, time, and magic. And there's only two, not a million. There's only two reasons why we are never in zone action. And those two reasons are A, fear of failure, and B, fear of rejection. And your ability to rise in your self-mastery is your ability to move through your fear of failure, fear of rejection, and be in zone action. The second in the middle, we call influence mastery. What is influence mastery? We believe influence mastery is the only attainable superpower anyone could achieve, unless anyone out there knows someone who could breathe fire, see through walls, or fly. I haven't met that. That's pretty cool, but I would still choose influence. Why? Because influence is your ability to go from hello to yes with others. And the beautiful distinction that Adriana mentioned is there's a difference between what Adriana and I are doing in this conversation, which is one-on-one influence, and then what we're doing with all of you watching, which is group influence, because every single one of you is going to perceive my words differently. If I say the word love, that means something different to Eric. That means something different to Adriana. That means something different to you. And every single word means something different. So it's a much more complicated scenario with infinite amount of variables when you're in a group influence dynamic. And we're never truly taught how to communicate. In the educational system, we're taught to memorize and regurgitate. That isn't actually how you learn. And communication, the best version that the world teaches is, find what people have in common and talk about that. And I'll share just a quick fun story of how wrong and suboptimal that is imagine you go to the most important meeting of your life, and on the wall, you see a framed autograph picture of Michael Jordan. And you love Michael Jordan. And you're like, OMG, this is going to be the greatest conversation ever. I love Michael Jordan. This person loves Michael Jordan. This is going to be cake. You sit down in front of the most important person that you're meeting in your life. And you're like, hey, why do you love Michael Jordan? I see you have this picture on the wall. And the gentleman goes, actually, my ex-wife gave me that picture. I hate Michael Jordan, and I keep that on my wall to remind me how much I hate people. So thank you for bringing that up. What the heck do you do in that moment? Most people are going to go humma, 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 humma. And that is why figuring out things people have in common is not the most effective way to build relationships with people. And that is influence mastery. And final, on the right, we have process mastery. And this is the black and white. This is the recipe, the how, who, what, where, when of sales, marketing, training, recruitment, management, all things business is process mastery. Said differently, process mastery is actually how you learn. And there's 4 quadrants in process mastery. Number 1 is you model. Number 2 is you time block. Number 3 is you maximize through measuring and monitoring. And number 4 is you innovate. And when Sean gave me these containers, everything made sense. I had read over 1,000 books. I was certified in all these different trainings. I had learned from different mentors, but I didn't know how to actualize them all. And why is it that Michael Jordan, whatever your opinion is, for most, was the greatest basketball player in history, but he was a pretty atrocious coach and an even worse executive, but he was the best player ever? What that teaches me, and maybe should teach you, is just because you can do something doesn't mean you can teach something. And what the formula gives myself, Adriana, and all of you access to is how to learn exactly what you want to learn and all the tools and containers to teach them to someone else.
Thank you so much, Fernando. That was beautiful how you took us through the integrity-based influence and how you go from self-mastery to influence mastery to process mastery. I love how you explain it so well. So thank you so much for that. And as you talk about communication, communication is one of the major, I would say, roadblocks for relationships, for businesses, in general, for the world. I mean, presidents sometimes can communicate, just like everything in general. And as you talk about communication, there was something that I really appreciated and I'm blinded that I learned about 5-level listening. Like you said about that story about Michael Jordan, it's like you have to learn to listen. And I want you to take us to a 5-level listening process, because I think that is something very practical for all of our audience that they could learn and take, and it could improve your communications in your business, in your relationship, just in general. It will make such a big difference. So please give us that little treat.
Well, Adriana, my listening of you is that you are incredibly proficient. I have seen you, by the time I met you, you were already masterful, successful with all the communication skills you had. You were someone who was dedicated to yourself, to your family, to your loved ones. And you're someone, just by pure access of doing the show, that is committed to giving the people more that maybe you didn't have. And your ability to communicate is equivalent to your ability to listen. And just like we're never taught how to actually learn, memorizing and taking a test is not learning, I promise. Figuring out what you have in common is not really listening and or communicating. So how do we listen? It's never actually taught. If I were to ask all of you out there, like, hey, teach me how to listen in 3 minutes, how would you do it? How would you do it? Well, I'm about to show you. And what Adriana is mentioning is that in the influence mastery formula, there's 4 steps, 12 indispensable elements, 4 energies. I'm not going to go through the full lesson and model right now. One of the indispensable elements is the ability, the power to level 5 listen. So let me give you this. Here's an example of level 1 listening. Adriana, what is your favorite sport?
My favorite sport is soccer.
Okay, can you say, I love soccer?
I love soccer.
Yeah, listen, baseball is my favorite sport. That's level 1 listening. That's taking it back to me and making it about me. Can you say, I love soccer one more time?
I love soccer.
I love soccer too. My favorite team is the Argentina.
Oh, well, it's amazing. My favorite team is Colombia.
Incredible. That's actually mine too. So level 2 listening is bringing it back to me, but at least I'm on subject. In level 1, it was about me, different subject. In level 2, it is about me, same subject. Now, can you please say, I love soccer?
I love soccer.
Oh my God, that is so interesting. Let me ask you a question. Why soccer? Pause. Level 3 listening is the most common level of listening. That is where you finally bring it back to the person, but in a very, average, common type of way. Now, I will skip level 4 listening because it would take more time to explain the micro distinction between level 4 and 5. But can you please answer this question, Adriana? Adriana, why do you love soccer?
Well, I love soccer because soccer is the major sport of Colombia, and I grew up watching my dad and my grandfather and watching soccer together, and it's just so passionate. Everybody screams, yells, like it shows passion, which I'm very passionate about too. So that's why I love soccer. And also, I played soccer in my high school, and I was the captain, and I was a great player. So, and thanks to that, I have great legs right now.
Adriana, what I'm hearing you say is that soccer is so much more than a sport for you. What soccer might mean for you is some of the greatest core memories that you have with your father and your grandfather. And at the beginning of your journey in soccer, it was more than a sport. It's how you connected with family. It's how you expressed yourself and your passion. And not only did you take that passion, something tells me that it became something very important to you, because you didn't just join the soccer team, you were the captain of your soccer team. And that just does not happen. Some of that was maybe for you, some of that was maybe for your family. And what I'm hearing now is that every time you watch and or play soccer, not only did it give you an incredible body and legs, as you mentioned, it has become a cornerstone of how you bond with your family. And your desire is to share that with other people, whether it's through soccer or maybe even through scuba diving. Your desire to share magic and passion transcends the sport. Adriana, am I hearing you correctly?
You are hearing me correctly, and I feel so heard, seen, and understood. So thank you. That is what great 5-level listening is.
Amen. And that is just an example of it, as it would take me a little bit more time than we have here today to train everyone watching on how to do it. But here's the bottom line reality. When Oprah Winfrey was asked how she held the microphone for so many people for so many years, it was because every single time she went up, she would say to herself, I hear you, I see you, and what you say matters to me. And a lot of us in life never get that at home. We certainly don't get that at work. And when you can walk around with the superpower of having someone feeling heard, seen, and understood, it is a very addictive quality. And we call it integrity-based human influence because, unfortunately, these superpowers could be used for darker powers, which I will not even begin to mention in this beautiful conversation. Level 5 listening is a talent. It's not something that you are born with. Some people might have some innate abilities, but it is something that you could acquire through our work and through overall time. Because a lot of people that you can meet in the world are actually phenomenal listeners, but what they don't have is the ability to teach you how to become incredible listeners. And that's what at least one of our 12 indispensable elements is all about. So back to you, Adriana.
Fernando, I hear you, I see you, and what you say to me matters. And that's why I brought you into this show. So I'm so happy that you came here. And as we start wrapping up the show, I want to give you some great news about myself so that we can have more experiences together. I actually became a scuba diver last weekend in Key Largo. So I'm super proud of that. I know you're a scuba diver as well. And Sean Callaghy, our mentor, encouraged me to do that. So I want you to share with the audience fun facts about you besides being a scuba diver.
So let's see. A fun fact is I recently came back from Giza, Egypt, and I was able to climb the Great Pyramid. I've been to Kauai in Hawaii, where I actually had a 16-foot bull shark 1 inch from my face, which is one of the most profound experiences of my life. And I'll go with my favorite food, believe it or not, is actually lasagna. So those would be my fun facts for the show.
Wow, that's incredible. Oh my God, a 16-foot bull shark. Wow. I was afraid of sharks and barracudas. And I want to tell you this, but I told God, okay, I'm doing this certification. Just let's get it out of the way. Please show me a shark and a barracuda on the first day so I can actually graduate. And I saw a barracuda and I saw a shark very close to me, and I was not scared. So you can break any fears. I did it. So I'm so proud of you too with that shark. Oh my God. So as we're wrapping up the show, I want you to bring whatever last comments you want to say, whatever last nuggets of wisdom you want to give us. It's been such a fun experience doing this show with you. I enjoy your communication, your level of communication, all of the content, the wealth of knowledge that you brought here, the energy. So thank you so much, my dear friend. I love you so much and I appreciate you so much. So thank you that you're on my life. And again, please go ahead and give us your last comments.
Well, Adriana, I love you too. And my final comments is to please listen to this woman. What she is doing transcends real estate. What she is doing transcends real estate investments. She is truly looking to create massive opportunity for people. A lot of things kind of sound common in words, and there's a thing like go above and beyond. Adriana has no other gear besides above and beyond in every single thing that she does with her friends, with her partners, her loved ones, her communities. It isn't just do, the job. It is do the job plus, 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 plus. And the fact that she thought of me to come on the show, I feel incredibly honored, as I know the list of incredible humans that have been here. So please continue to follow the show, follow Adriana, not as a follower, but follow her as a master. And for yourself, be a masterful apprentice. And my final words are, if Adriana can do what she has done, if I can do what I have done, we are regular people. We are perfectly imperfect. We are children of God. And if we could do it, you could do it too. My name is Fernando Valencia, co-founder of Unblinded. And if you're looking to learn how to master your self, influence, and process mastery with complete humility, there is no other greater place in the world than to learn here. And we'd love to see you at our next event real soon.
Thank you so much for the beautiful words, Fernando Valencia. Again, it's been a pleasure for me to have you here. And you did a great job. Thank you so much. And we're going to wrap our show. So again, this is Adriana Montes. You're on the Adriana Montes Real Estate Show. If you want to contact me for any questions, my number is 321-689-6258. Or you can email me at adriana@floridadreamsrealty.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to follow me on my social media on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and I will be happy to reply to you. Thank you so much for watching our show. Thank you.